Hey everyone, welcome to episode 197 of the Ceres podcast. Today, Mark is joined by David Henley from Henleys in Wivenhoe. David's journey in fish and chip industry is one of the most of resilience, ambition and sharp business acumen. In this conversation with Mark, David shares how a chance job at a burger kiosk led him to the world of fish and chips, eventually culminating in the establishment of Henleys of Wivenhoe. I don't want to say too much because in a few minutes you're actually going to be listening to them both. Today's episode of the Ceres podcast is sponsored by the Ceres Fish Cake Mix. More than ever in the current climate, it's important to maximise profits whilst you're serving customers meals they can only get from you. I've used this analogy before, but let's just focus at butchers for the moment. They turn every cut and scrap into something valuable. Think of pies, mince, burgers, sausages. That's all from trimmings. Don't be fooled by thinking it's all fillet steak or, pork tenderloin or lamb leg. It's just not. Nose to tail, as the butchers say. The Ceres Fish Cake Mix lets you turn every ounce of fish into profit without compromising quality. With fish prices on the rise now, it's a great start to making more profit and, more sales, and who'd say no to that? Trim your fish portions to the perfect size and weight and use the rest of your trimmings for fish cakes. With our fish cake mix, you can prepare delicious custom fish cakes faster than it would take to boil a pan of potatoes, and we've curated countless of recipes to get you started. So, stop losing money, boost your sales and boost your profits today using the Ceres Fish Cake Mix, available at www.ceres.shop with free mainland UK shipping. We have a little checklist for you to keep up to date with everything happening at Ceres. Join our Ceres community feed. It's one way only and full of chatter. It's just like an announcement feed. You can do likes and stuff, but there's no point commenting, and I don't think it works like that anyway. But it's just a good way to just go back on yourself and see what's happening in our world. Number 2, join our mailing list. This is the best place to get weekly emails about the special offers we do, the latest news that we're writing about, the latest podcast that we're putting out. Everything sort of goes there. And if you would be so kind, number 3, would you leave us a review on the podcast player you are on right now? This helps us get exposure to like-minded people. Links will be in the episode description on your podcast player. And I'm really excited to tell you about a new update on our website, and that's the calculator section. Just jump over, it's www.ceres.shop/calculators, but you'll see it in the top row. You have to be logged in. You'll find a treasure trove sounds wrong, of tools that really help you up your game. You'll find a gross profit calculator, a fish cake mix yield calculator, same with a curry sauce and gravy calculator and yield. They actually tell you the price per pot. It tells you the portion size. Well, you actually tell it the portion size. It will tell you your profit. It will tell you your yield. It will tell you your VAT contribution. Yeah, the lot. One of our personal favourites is the delivery aggregator calculator. So you put in the price of the product on your menu, and then you pop in the aggregator charge. Let's say it's 35%. I'm guessing that's the highest figure nowadays. Might not be. Let's say it's 35%. With Uber Eats, you pop that in. It spits out a figure for you. You decide whether you can move on from that. Now look, if I say the word calculator again, I may just have to shoot somebody. But there's 22 of these things. There's so many, and we've got 4 or 5. We'll see how I get on over the next couple of weeks. We've got a few more coming. So, jump over because they're really good. Look, at Ceres, we're not just about batter mix. We're here to support your business with premium products, expert advice, and inspiring conversations like this one. So, on to today's episode with Mark and David.
It's really good to have you on the podcast. I need to tell the listeners this is actually take 2. We actually recorded this just over a week ago, but there was the powers that be, Mr. Stelios up in Ceres Tower, wasn't happy with the sound quality, and he's made us do it again. And you've very kindly agreed to come on again. And I'm really grateful because I enjoyed the first one so much. You've had such an incredible journey in the industry. I really wanted to share that on the podcast. So thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it.
That's very kind, very kind.
It's always nice to see your face. So welcome. We actually met for the first time in 2006. We were up against each other in the final of Fish and Chip Shop of the Year, and I know that by that time it was your third go at Fish and Chip Shop of the Year, and it was my second. And there was some tough competition at the time. Anne Struther, who went on to win it, were in the final as well. Tracy Poskett, who both you and I regard as, she's so knowledgeable, so passionate, and so capable. She was in the final. But when all the finalists met up in Peterhead, I took one look at you and I feared you the most. Because you were confident, you really got your shit together, and I looked around at all the finalists and I thought, who are my problems here? And there you used to shine, and I mean you still shine, but at the time I just thought this guy, he really knows what he's all about. So your shop's named after you. It's Henleys of Wivenhoe. Tell me how it all began. I know because we've had chats before, and we did it so recently. I know that it all started with a guy called Ken, and you were just a young lad. Start us at the beginning of the journey and tell us how you got into it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't very good at school. I'm dyslexic, and in them days, it wasn't really sort of diagnosed or anything like that. So I was always misbehaving, always getting in trouble. And in the end, if I didn't turn up for school, then the teachers didn't mind too much. They had a bit of a quieter time. So I used to bunk off and work on Walton Pier, and normally on the Dodgems or the Walser and stuff. But one day I got stuck in the burgers, just a burger kiosk right on the entrance onto the pier, and I loved it. I really did. I had my own sort of little place, chatting to the customers. And
the pressure of it as well, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. I mean, sometimes you'd have a queue, 20, 30 deep. People aren't patient or anything. I'm only 14, and I'm running around like a lunatic, And one day I saw this guy standing over in the corner by the bingo looking at me, and, I recognised him from somewhere. I couldn't place him, so I gave him a wave. A few days later, I'm walking to school, when I did go to school, and he's sitting outside the chip shop on the bench on the estate where we grew up, and said hello, and he said, do you want a job? I said, yeah, okay, and put the school bag down and started there and then. I was about 14 and a half. Yeah.
So that was it. He recruited you. You recognised him as not the man who hangs around outside the chip shop, but the owner of the chip shop.
Yeah. But
you weren't being groomed, you were being recruited.
Exactly. But the great thing was as well, not only was it on the estate where I lived, but he had 6 shops at the time. He ended up having 6 shops. Ilford, Bishop Stortford, Finchley, and I sort of cut my teeth on the shop on the estate, really. But then I ended up being his relief manager. At 16, working in Ilford, Finchley, Bishop Stortford, away from home. And the best thing was each place I worked at, I picked up some tips on what the manager was doing a bit different there, and it seemed to work. Also, how not to do things. We can all bang on sometimes about, great ideas, but sometimes you see people doing things that's not right. So at 16, I was a relief manager, picking up all these tips, working all around the southeast. And my mum, bless her, she got a bit fed up with this because I was only 16 working away from home. A job was advertised in Colchester, where we lived, for a manager of a Oysters fish restaurant in the town centre. And I went along for an interview. The guy liked me a lot. He said, look, I've got loads to see, but can you come back at 4 o'clock? Because I'm sure you're the person for the job. Went back at 4 o'clock, gave me the job, started again the next day, and loved it. And I ended up buying the shop. I mean, how about that? It was a 50-seater restaurant, busy takeaway. We had an ice cream kiosk. We had everything. But I was 24, but didn't have any money. You know, they offered the shop. They were selling the shop. They said, look, David, would you like it? I said, well, yeah, I'd love to, but I haven't got any money. And I went home, spoke to mum and dad and said, look, you know, and they put their bungalow on the line for me. I mean, you know, how amazing is that? 24. Wow. And I was still short. The owners did a promissory note for 20 grand as well. So at 24, bought this 54-seater restaurant, had a little ice cream kiosk, had a fruit machine arcade on the first floor as well. And it was fantastic. But I knew fish and chips was still, I mean, we're talking, blimey, you know, 35 years ago. Fish and chips was still seen as like, you know, it's fast food, but it was, you know, didn't have a great reputation. So first thing I did was put tablecloths out in the restaurant. Yeah. Everybody got new uniforms. We had, can you believe this, wing collar with dicky bow ties?
That sounds cute for the time.
Yeah, boaters, boater hats, stripy waistcoats. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I've still got the photographs around. And
sounds more like a West End show than
when I look at the photographs now, I think, oh my God, what are you doing? But at the time, it was fantastic.
It worked.
Yeah, and I was the first one, well, that I know of in the area. You know, I had champagne and fish and chips on the menu. Introduced calamari, you know, 35 years ago, introduced calamari on the menu. You know, people didn't even know what it was. And
so how many 24-year-olds do you think have got 10 years experience and would I mean, the pressure at the time, I guess, having your parents' house as security, owing another 20 grand, to actually come up with all these innovations at 24. That's, you know, that's ambition. That's you've got to have a lot of conviction, and it paid off for you. That's mad.
But there were some scary moments, though, Mark. I mean, we had a total loss, had a fire, only 2 years into it. Total loss. The insurance company. What's the chances? When I ended up going to the High Court, had barristers and everything involved. They'd never heard of it before. I arranged cover with a new insurance broker for the same day we had the fire on. So
really?
the insurance broker denied liability, so we had to sue him on his professional indemnity because he arranged cover, because he was the previous insurers as well. He arranged cover for a new insurer on the 11th of February. We still had the existing insurer online for the 11th of February. So I ended up suing two PLCs and the broker in the High Court, and that nearly put us under. It really did. You know, I've got a shop. Wow. It was closed for 6 months, but everybody my suppliers, my potato supplier, I saw him at the weekend. You know, he's been supplying me potatoes for, blimey, 40 years. Wow. He stood with me. Mum and Dad did, all the family, all the staff. So we ended up, and the landlord, bless him, you know, he's passed away now. We managed to get the place up and running again, carried on. And it cost me 70,000 in legal fees. I settled 2 days before the trial, and I only got a third of my legal fees because you know, I only pay reasonable costs. So they'll pay one barrister, not for three, because you know you get a bit nervous and you start thinking, well, hang on, you know, everybody says it's, you know, I've got a good case here, but I'd get another barrister's opinion, and it cost me 70 grand in fees, and I got, I think, 35 back or something like that. But that actually made me a lot stronger, Mark, because I learned so much.
There's lots of people would have given up and walked away. You know, it says a lot that you dug your heels in and you fought it and you prevailed. Yeah. That's I didn't know that before. That's
My solicitor at the time, Richard Plummer, you know, it was Plummer Tilsley Logan. It was his practice, and we was good mates again. I'm only 24. This is an old Etonian pinstripe suit and stuff, but we really got on well. And he said, "Look, Henley, I'll do this for you, but they wanted money on account, and I didn't have any, so I ended up working. He gave me a little part of his office in the corner. I had to get all the paperwork in chronological order, and I just learned so much, and he backed me all the way. Expert witnesses all needed paying. The practice funded it basically, on the belief that I was telling the truth. We wanted our day in court to literally have the broker there and actually get this cleared up, because it was unjust. It really was.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I've had a fire, and it's devastating because the money stops coming in. That's the hardest thing. The one good thing that you rely on in fish and chips is the cash flow. That's probably one of the most attractive things about fish and chips, is that you buy your fish for X on Monday and you've got 3X back in your till by Friday. It allows you to juggle stuff and do stuff. So by 24, you're in your own shop.
Yep.
What was the next stage? Because you went from that place. Tell us how you found the shop that you've got, and you had other shops in between as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, loved my time at ended up calling it Henley's Fish Restaurant, in Colchester Town. I had that for 14 years in the end, but I couldn't buy the building. It was always leasehold. The town centre was changing a lot. I came into fish and chips when there was no real we didn't have burger joints, we didn't have Subways, we didn't have, KFCs. There was literally, it seemed like every week there was a new food let opening. All the news agents, all the supermarkets were doing these meal deals and stuff. And it got very, very tough, really, high street rent and rates. And by this time, me and Lisa, we're living in Wivenhoe, lovely little village and stuff. And I'm driving out of Wivenhoe to Colchester Town Centre every day. Caught in traffic, can't even find a parking space, to go to work. And as I'm driving out the village, I noticed this empty news agents. And I thought, what a lovely commute. It's literally about a minute and a half, my commute. And made some inquiries, and we managed to find out that the guy that had the lease to it, the reason it was empty, he had the news agents at the bottom of the village. So he was paying rent on an empty place. So he wanted this, it to go. And so I said, subject to planning, I'll take it. We had the same solicitors acting for us, which was great. And it took me 2 years to get planning, though. And he actually tried to stitch me up in the end, because we had the same solicitors, and he had, I forget now, he was across the table, I was across the other table, and there was a conflict because we had both solicitors, and they said, look, I would like a formal contract that's subject to me getting planning permission. Mr. Bryant will assign the lease to me. And Peter Powell, that was it. He was a managing partner, was acting for Mr. Bryant, and he said, I've known Mr. Bryant many years. His word, take it from me, if he says he will assign it, he will assign it. There's no need for a formal contract. So, take me 2 years. I've got a planning consultant. I'm having a highways guy involved. I'm spending all this money and stuff. Finally get the planning. And he wants to assign the lease to somebody else.
What?
Yeah, honestly. But, again, you've got to... I was thinking one step ahead, really, anyway, and always wanted a freehold. Yeah. I had already arranged... I'd tracked the freeholder down that was in Australia. He used to be the pharmacist that had the chemist on the corner. And he said, look, because he wouldn't sell me to one shop, number 9. He said, if you want number 9, you got to take the whole lot, which was 4 retail units. One's Boots pharmacy and stuff. So again, I didn't have the money for this really, and got an agent involved, and we looked at everything. He said, well, David, it's a good buy. So came up with a figure, and he said yes. Got the bank involved. We got everything. So I ended up getting the freehold to the whole lot. So when Mr. Bryant was saying, I'm going to assign it to somebody else, I said, you're going to have some difficulty, Mr. Bryant, because I'm now your landlord. I said, I'm certainly not going to give consent. So I ended up buying the parade, which was the best move ever. It really is, property.
See, there you are again. There you are again. There's your determination, your grit, and your resolve to just plough through. I love that. I love the fact that he was going to double cross you, but you were already ahead of him. That's golden.
He totally underestimated me. He saw me as this young kid from the council estate, him and Peter Powell, of public school boys and stuff, and Mr. Bryant's a man of his word and all that. And I literally I thought, as time went on, I thought, what guarantees have I got he's going to do? I'm spending all this money. I'm, canvassing all the local residents and stuff. I'm telling them that we're not going to trade after 9 o'clock. We're going to site refuse bins at each end of the parade to combat litter and stuff. I already had purified air involved. That was the extraction system goes through a purified air system, and literally you can have a lemon fragrance. By the time it goes out at its terminal point in the flue, it smells of lemons. So I'd done all this. So I had the community on board. So I lived locally as well. I ended up becoming a local councillor, which helped as well. And I thought, what guarantees have I got? I'm doing all this. This guy could just turn around and literally... Sorry.
You're like a smiling assassin, aren't you? You've got a very disarming nature about you. You are really, really likable. I can see why you're attracted to being in a community role. And I guess people underestimate you at their peril. Do you think? Where do you think you got that kind of astute business acumen from? Is it something that your parents drilled into you, or something you just sort of picked up from Ken, or where do you think you get that from? Because it's a really, really useful tool to have in your toolbox
definitely. It was growing up. I grew up on a tough council estate, and you literally had to be one step ahead. And if you weren't, then you didn't get very far. So, and also with the fire, it taught me a valuable lesson that sometimes you're relying on these people. These what you'd call the professionals, the solicitors and everything else, and mortgage brokers or insurance brokers and everything. And you think, they've got a suit and everything, and you trust them. And I learned very early on that there's only one person you can trust in business sometimes, and that's yourself. I trust other people. I really do, but you always have to have a safeguard in place. Don't leave yourself exposed. And if there's a way you can safeguard your investment or whatever, do it.
But you do it in a nice way,
always with a smile, Mark.
Always with a smile. And anybody that knows you knows that that's one of it's one of the most likable things about you is your smile. You do light up a room. You mentioned Lisa already once. Now she is the love of your life. And I can't blame her. She's an incredible woman. You were childhood sweethearts, weren't you?
Yes, we knew each other.
You married her at 8, didn't you?
No, virtually. Well, we lived literally on the same street. We lived in Ashdown Way on Grinstead Estate, this estate, and I was best friends with her brother Paul. She lived at the bottom of the hill, and I lived sort of midway. And so I was always, mucking around with Paul, playing on our bikes and stuff. And Lisa was always there. And we even went on holiday. We went down to Ilfracombe in Devon on holiday. So me and Lisa went away on holiday together. I was 8 and she was 7. When you put it like that. But I was working away and doing things, but we bumped into each other in a nightclub one night, and just got tatting, and blimey, been together ever since. 2 lovely kids. But we didn't.
Was that the nightclub you ended up owning?
No,
or was that a different? That a different one?
No.
Because we'll come to that. We'll come to that in a bit. Because I really want to dive deeper. We didn't do it on the first run of this recording. And I want to know what it's like owning a nightclub. Yeah,
but Lisa and I had a long engagement. You might put it because we had 2 lovely boys, and we had a 15-year engagement. We only got married, when the boys were. I think Joe was 11, Kieran was 9 or whatever, and we was just always busy doing things. And that time, marriage, we didn't think that much. But when the boys started going to school and stuff, we thought, well, let's sort of let's cement things. Let's get married and
make it official. She
Yeah,
made an honest man of you.
yeah, she did, and it all went on the credit card. It took me years to pay it off. We had to have a marquee on the lawn and all that sort of stuff, But it was a lovely day.
But you've never been afraid to have a go. It's not greed. It's definitely ambition.
Yeah,
You've taken some risks over the years, haven't you?
yeah,
What do you think was the biggest risk? Was it the first one where you had the pressure of your parents?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, 100%. Taking that first leap, you think, well, I did, because when I had the fire as well, I ended up doing the door in a nightclub that I ended up buying. Just to literally, just to get by. Like you said, as soon as I had that fire, cash flow stopped. I paid the staff out of my own salary, out of my own pocket, for as long as I could. I still had rent to pay and everything else. But the main thing was mum and dad's mortgage. Whatever happens is getting paid. And I didn't just pay the advance that we took. I took the whole bit. So I said, from now on, you don't have a mortgage anymore. I paid a mortgage. So even doing a door in a local nightclub I ended up buying, I made sure their mortgage, number one, was always covered.
Yeah. So you grew up pretty fast. You already had Lisa by your side. You found the site that ended up being Henleys of Wivenhoe, and you swerved the tenant you were buying it off and became his landlord, which I think is golden. And you've done it all with smart.
He had a rent review pending as well, Mark. So the boot was on the other foot. I said, Mr. Bryan, you can try and assign it to someone if you like. You're not getting consent, and by the way, that's a rent memorandum. Your rent's going up. So he couldn't wait to get out of there and just assigned it for nothing.
Oh, good lad.
Yeah.
I bet your middle name ended up being David Bloody Henley.
But the reason I want 9 Vine Parade so much, not because it's in the village where I live and everything, but I could see the potential, and I've always wanted to showcase fish and chips at its best. Really, so we took out all the internal walls, new drainage, new electrics, totally bespoke. I love Mallinson's frying range. I got Terry and Howard there for Mallinson's. We designed the frying range exactly how we wanted it. I ended up drawing on the floor. That's where the fridge and freezer goes. Allow for the door opening. But more than that, I wanted to. You wouldn't go into a butcher's and buy a couple of steaks without seeing it first, would you? So I wanted a wet fish display built into the counter. People come into my shop, and this is how it's been now for 23 years. You come into my shop, you pick your piece of fish, you choose it from the wet fish display, and it's cooked in front of you. Now, how amazing is that? All the walls are out, so you can see the potatoes being peeled. You see them going in the fryer in front of you. Because with the experience that I had in the nightclub as well, I wanted that interaction that we all have, all the fryers and the staff. It's a wall-facing range, so literally, on a lunchtime when I first opened, I took £9. I thought, what have I done? But I could run that shop on my own. I've literally got the fryers this side. I turn around, that's the counter. So it was, and people loved it. And
the attention to detail is when I first came to your shop, that you could see how much thought had gone into how you'd laid it out, and it's one of those sites that when it's busy, you can get bodies behind there and really knock the stuff out. But when it's quiet, you can run it with literally one person as well. Not that it's ever quiet these days, but you can. There's a lot of you in that shop, and you can see the time and effort. And it from a customer point of view, to be able to see right from the front to the back of the shop, it not only is it theatrical, but it's also, it gives the customer confidence because nothing's hidden. You are the cleanest of operators as well, so people can see the whole journey from the fridge to the pan to the paper. into the box. It's no wonder I was shaking in my boots when I met you up in Aberdeen.
Well, you at the time was a bit of a dark horse, to be honest, because I met Tracy. Me and Tracy the night before we had the visit to Peterhead, we were still in the bar. I think at 3 a.m, and we was being picked up at 4 to go to the fish market.
Yeah, well, you made it and she didn't. She didn't make it on that trip, did she?
Exactly. I love Tracy.
She turned up sometime in the afternoon.
She was a bit green around the gills when she did.
She was. Yeah, that was not her best moment.
But again, went on to win it, and a worthy winner as well.
Oh, she's amazing.
Amazing operator.
Yeah. I've begged her to come on, and she's just in a different place now. And I've said to her, you've got so much to contribute. And Matthew Silk, I've asked them both to come on. I can't get everyone. I'm glad I've got you.
Yeah.
So talk us about your fish and chip shop of the year journey. What prompted you to enter? Was it like a free MOT for your business? Did you want to know that you were doing it right, or did you want to see how good you really were, or was it the publicity and the extra turnover? What was the motivation for you to actually start with Fish and Chip Shop of the Year?
Yeah, I think whatever line of business you choose to do, whether you're manufacturing or retail or whatever, you want to be the best. Be the best at what you do. And I've never been motivated by money. I've done lots of businesses, I've expanded and done other things, but the best advice was literally, strive to be the best at what you do, and the money will come. It really will. If you're good at what you do, good product, good price, the money will follow. And the Seafish at the time were the sponsors and stuff, and they had this quality award, and so I wanted to do that because, again, the NFFF do the quality award now, and I've just renewed mine. Fantastic MOT for your business. I'd urge anybody in the industry, get your quality award from the NFFF. It's a great MOT for your business. And did the first application with the National Fish and Chip Shop of the Year competition, and I didn't take it serious enough. So it was just, usual sort of thing.
So that was voting forms back then, wasn't it? We had to get 200 nominations from your customers.
That's it. And, we got that okay. But then the next year, I thought, this is a great, it's a great management tool as well. Get all the staff involved. We're all G'd up for it. You get all your procedures in place, all your cleaning schedules, all your marketing, community events, your sustainability. It encompasses everything in running a successful fish and chip shop. And it's amazing. And so we took it really, really serious. Spent a lot of money on some promotional brochures and things like that. Even had a little bit of coaching, from yours truly at times as well. And And
let's not talk about that.
Anyway,
I don't talk about that.
Well, the year that we came third, when you won it, bless you, it was just, I loved it. Going in and doing a presentation about something that you believe and you're passionate about as well. I loved it. And it's even now, this year, I'm afraid, blimey, I think nearly 30 years, it's the first year I won't be there. Because sadly, I had all my applications ready to go, early part of September, and my mum passed away.
Some tragedy,
and didn't really want to do it. And Lisa, bless as well, she's been 10 years clear of breast cancer, and same time as Mum passed away, Lisa was diagnosed that the cancer came back. So we've had our battle. So I had to put it on the shelf.
2024 has been a tough year for you. I know that.
But we came through. Lisa's had the surgery. That's all good. And I know Mum would want me to carry on. So I'm already getting my application ready for next year.
Yeah. So let's go back and talk about Lisa, because we started to talk about her. I know she's given you two wonderful sons, Kieran and Joe. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's always worked with you in the shop.
Yes.
and she owned it. She really, really owned it. When she got a cancer, she carried on working. She worked in a wig.
Yeah.
When she had all of her treatments,
Yep.
she raised a lot of money for cancer charities. I know that
Yep.
she did some running,
She's done a London Marathon, bless her.
which is mental.
Yeah.
Put her in the spotlight for a few minutes and just talk about Lisa. I know you had a funny story that I want you to share again. She had a friend who also was wearing a wig, and they like to swap wigs and play tricks on you, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, when we first time around, we had an amazing consultant, all NHS and stuff. And it was Mr. Marsh, lovely fellow. He said, "Lisa, look, we can do the surgery, we can do the chemo, the radiotherapy, and everything, but a positive attitude will go a long way." And she definitely took that on board. So she her hair started coming out after the chemo and stuff. So her hairdresser Gail came round. So they both ended up having a bottle of bubbly, I think, and shaved their head. Rather than having clumps coming out, she said, "No, take it off." So they're both crying into their bubbles, while Gail's shaving her head and stuff. But then she gets these wigs, a blonde and a brunette, and her best friend Julia. It literally went through it at exactly the same time. Exactly the same. Lost all her hair, so they both got these wigs. And we ended up taking the kids to Disney as well, because we didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So we wanted to make sure we had a good time. So we went out to Disney. And we're going down a log flume. And I've got my hand on her head to stop her wig coming off. And then Julia's husband Pete, we ended up becoming good friends as well. We got Bruce Springsteen out together. We were both Boss fans, and we'd go out to a restaurant. Lisa's got a blonde wig on. Julie's got a lot of brunette stuff. The waiter would come around and take the orders and stuff. They'd go off to the loos, come back, and they swap wigs. all of a sudden, I had a blonde at the weekend, and now this brunette sort of sat down. And I don't think the waiter knew what was going on either. So
that's brilliant.
With adversity, if you can just introduce a bit of humour just to get you by, then it helps. It really does.
Yeah. But she's an amazing person.
Yeah. Even now, she's because she had a mastectomy and stuff. Fortunately enough, she didn't have to have the chemo and radiotherapy this time round. And she came back to work three weeks early.
Wow. She's been pivotal, not only in serving and working at the Chippy, but you also built a community garden with a bit of space right near to your Chippy, didn't you? As well.
Yeah. I mean, what happened there was, I ended up being because I do believe passionately that if you like somewhere where you live, get involved. So I ended up becoming a town councillor, and you're looking at projects and stuff. And there's a not a waste piece of land, but where I own the parade, there's
like a triangle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit of waste piece of land, really. And sometimes there'd be kids on there with cans of beer, and you'd get a lot of rubbish and stuff. So I thought, let's take this on. So I linked up with Wivenhoe in Bloom, some lovely ladies that do all the gardens and hanging baskets and stuff. And I sponsored some money, and got my hands dirty as well. We dug it out. We sort of done it in sleepers with nice planting, nice tree in the middle and stuff. And do you know what? From a monetary value as well, we've got that back 100-fold. Because people just love it, they really do. Fish and Chips has this image of smelly and noisy and litter and everything. When people are queuing up at Boots for their prescription, or they're coming to the shop, they see this lovely garden with it's got a couple of plaques in them. And this garden is sponsored and maintained by Henleys of Wivenhoe, and it's fantastic. We got the mayor to cut the ribbon and open it and everything, and everybody loves it.
Yeah, fantastic. So the journey for Fish and Chip Shop of the Year has allowed you to have a profile in the industry, and off the back of that, you've put a lot back into the trade. I also know that you're an ambassador for Frymax, and you were the first Frymax ambassador, and now that's kind of spawned a whole load of others. Des from Burton Road, Nigel Hodson, Zohab, to name a few. You actually, as an ambassador for Frymax, and I know this is the Ceres podcast, but Stelios won't mind at all. Giving Frymax a little bit of airtime. You actually go and visit other chip shops, don't you? And help them get the best out of their oil, because I personally think oil management is number one. If you don't take care of your oil and learn how to make it consistent and perform consistently, you're never going to have the same product day in, day out, the same quality day in, day out. One of my pet hates is a shop that lets their oil get darker and darker and darker, throws it away and starts with fresh, because you've got white fish and chips one day, and then by the end of the week it's black. You need to keep it of a consistent colour and quality and taste, and you help shops achieve that through your work with Frymax, don't you?
Yeah, and I love it. I really do, because I think our industry is one of the few industries where we're happy to impart a bit of knowledge. You may not want to do it with your competitor who's just down the road, but whenever we meet up, whether it's the fish and chip shop of the year competition or whether I'm going to see Frymax customers, it's a great way to pick it. You've got this knowledge. You need to impart it. Help people on, because you're exactly right. I think it's like the McDonald's thing. Whether you're having a Big Mac in Times Square in New York, or whether you're in Hyde Park, it should be exactly the same. If your customer comes in on a Monday, then comes back on Friday, you should have the same experience. And unless you've got good oil management in place, you won't have that. So, I've tried lots of other, cooking oils over the years, but Frymax, it's number one for a reason. And, it's just a great product. So sometimes, there's a new shop opening or at the trade shows, people come up and Andrew or Cyril will give me a referral, and I'll go and see somebody, and they're just so glad to learn. And sometimes I can't actually help them in their shop. I say, look, guys, I think what we need to do, I think it was a referral that you gave me once, the guys at the only way is Essex, the only way is fish in Essex, in Ongar. Lovely guys. And I said, look, the oil was frothing. They spent a fortune, a wonderful Fluigo, top of the range, fine range, digital menus, top of the range bowl chipper, but they had all the tools, but they didn't have the knowledge. Dad bought it for his son that had petrol stations and convenience shops and everything. And he worked with a previous owner, I think, for about 2 weeks, and then took it on and thought that would do. And
that happens a lot. That happens a lot. People inherit bad practices from the previous owner. They don't get formal training. And at the KFE school, we work with Frymax, and then we promote Frymax, and that's why I was really happy to refer him to you, because I knew he was on your patch. But a lot of people come to us and say, "Oh, my oil's doing this, my oil's doing that." It's doing that because of something you're doing.
Yes,
there's nothing wrong with the oil. There's something wrong with what you're doing.
Exactly.
And that's why I feel having Frymax ambassadors out there is such a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, one simple tip, if anybody's listening, is oil and water don't mix. I see so many people sometimes they've took the drain plug out of the chip bin or whatever, and it's full of oil at the bottom, full of water at the bottom, and they're getting the bucket in, they're putting the chips in. You can hear the oil literally screaming because all this moisture's entering and stuff. I said, look, guys, all I do is I've got a 19 mil drill bit. I actually drill a hole, because I don't know why anybody hasn't done this. The drain plug is normally facing on the side. I actually drill it underneath, and 19 mil is the same size as the bungs that Drywhite and everybody supplies as well.
Yeah.
They're 80 mil casters, so on the back I put 100 mil casters on. When you swap the wheels, So it's already got a tilt to it. So all the water drains to the front of the bin, and it actually drains from underneath. So by the time you get to the bottom of that chip bin, they're dry. You're not introducing loads of more water and moisture into oil. So it's little things like that that are, I take the drill bit along and I bung it in the boot of my car, and I actually do it for them sometimes. And just a simple thing like that, they fantastic. So the guys that are, the only way is fish it in Ongar and Essex, they were lovely. And I said, look, I said, I'm not going to be able to do this in one day. I said, look, let's fix up an appointment. You come to my shop and work with me for a day. And I thought it was just going to be, the owner. In the end, his dad came along, the son, the guy that does the chips prepper as well, and another one of the friends. And their English wasn't great, but we had a lovely day. They came along. Yeah. I gave them all like chef's whites. They instead of just trying to talk to somebody and give them some tips, when they can actually physically do it. And they were great. I still see them now. When I'm on the road with Frymax, I call in and see them. Product's great, and and so I actually enjoy doing that. Seeing something that's not been quite right, turn it round, and and they're great operators now, and that's down to Frymax introducing this ambassador scheme. It's all down to Andrew Marriott really, and Cyril, bless him, great guys as well.
Yeah, I love Cyril. Cyril. I mean, when I first met Cyril, I don't know, 20 years ago, he was a really, really old man. back then, and now he's younger.
I know.
I think he's Benjamin Button. I love it. And Cyril's so, he's so knowledgeable as well. And he really does. He knows that with Frymax, he's got a great product, and he does. He is really thorough, isn't he? I love Cyril to bits.
Everyone I go, I feel like I'm a bit inferior. They say, where's Cyril? I said, well, I said, I'm David. Can't I can help you? Yeah, but where's Cyril? They want to talk to Cyril.
Cyril retired 40 years ago, but he's still out on the road.
He's still alive and kicking, and just a great guy. And that's the thing about being a Frymax ambassador as well. Is it's very important people understand we don't sell. We don't go anywhere. My brief is not to try and promote Frymax or to sell it or anything, because it's such a great product that once people trial it or use
make that choice.
Yes, you can't go. There's no smell, there's no odor. Some shops I go into, I think, I can smell them before I even get there, and I think there's something definitely wrong here. You can see the product isn't right, and we can take it from an underperforming shop to a successful shop within literally overnight with good practices.
Yeah, I want to be a Frymax ambassador. I push it. I do push it. Well, because KFE have such a good relationship. With Frymax, we use it all the time at the training school, and we don't push it, but it sells itself, and Frymax do all the point of sale, and they demonstrate their sustainability, and because people think with palm oil, oh no, the poor orangutans and and the rainforests, but Frymax don't do any of that. They are ingredient clean, they're sustainable, and it's nice to consumers are more aware than ever of what they're putting in their bodies, and it's nice to be able to say to your customers, we've made all the right choices for you. And it's such a clean taste as well. So
it is.
So if you're listening, Mr. Frymax, give me a job. I'd love to be a Frymax ambassador. Let's move on. I didn't get from you what we didn't finish talking about fish and chip shop of the year. In my opinion, there are one or two greats that have never quite got over the line and won it, and you're one of them. David Hanbury down at Hanbury's in Babcombe. I put him in the same elite class as you, in that you deserve that trophy in your shop. In my opinion, you deserve that. You deserve to
That's
be
very kind. Thank you.
Well, no, that's not lip service, David. I feel that you're the full package. Your attention to detail, and listeners will get that from this conversation anyway. Your attention to detail, your commitment to the industry is selfless. You're not in it for what you can get out of it. You actually knowledge share, and I truly feel that you are a great ambassador, and David Hanbury is the same. But what makes you keep coming back? Is it like just a genuine desire to maintain the standards? Because I know you've also used the competition as a springboard. You've got a world record.
Yes,
that you got in your chip shop.
Yeah.
You've done like TV. All of that has come off the back of Fish and Chip Shop of the Year.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit more about your Fish and Chip Shop of the Year journey, because you're a current operator, but you're a past master as well. In my opinion.
I mean, the exposure that the first time we won London and South East, I think we've won London and South East. In those days, it was the regions. London and South East was quite prestigious to win, and one of the judges that year was Tom Parker Bowles. The king's stepson now, and
he came to my shop briefly, and spent the time that he was in my shop talking about you.
Well, he came along, and what a lovely guy! Again, he
He's
came
a nice
along
guy.
with, jeans and a jumper, hair sticking up all over the place and stuff, and it was posh, and he tried the fish and chips. We had some things in common because he loves the shed at Mersey. Their oysters. They're world famous and stuff. And we talked about that. And so we won the London and best in London South East. But then he was a
food critic as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, food critic. But also he had a role on a Market Kitchen, which was UK TV food, and. I think, that they said, look, we've got somebody lined up. We want to do fish and chips and everything. And they said, we've got somebody lined up. I don't know whether that might have been you that year. Was it? It was the winners. And he said, no. He said, I've got somebody in mind already. And they phoned me up, and it was filmed with Tamara Ramsey, Gordon Ramsay's wife, Matthew Fort, one of the Great British Menu guys. And we had to go in the studio and demonstrate the fine art of fish and chips. And me and Tom, we did it in one take, start to finish, even skinned the haddock, cooked it, fried it. I was up against Stuart Gillis, Gordon Ramsay's protege, and he set fire to his tea towel. They had to keep doing other takes. And everything. Me and Tom did it in one, and it just gave me so much confidence for other things. Then we got contacted by the BBC to do Take on the Takeaway with Gino De Campo, and that was... It might only be half an hour, 45 minutes, but that was 3 days of filming. And that was amazing.
Gino.
Yeah. His thing about the bat was if it sticks on the finger, it sticks on the fish. And the crew afterwards, because it was a challenge, we had to be faster and actually cook it cheaper and everything as well, and the product had to be better. And the crew at the end, once they say cut, the product's sitting there. Nobody could eat his fish and chips because he was cooking on electric wings. There's something wrong here. We're world record holders, and we still lost on the speed challenge. And they didn't eat his fish and chips. As soon as it went sort of cut, and my sort of fish and chips are left there for like the final, they're tucking in and eating mine. And although I didn't win, it was a great accolade there. But
it's good exposure for fish and chips anyway. So
great exposure for fish and chips, but also for my business. Because on the back of that, the exposure, the from that, whenever anybody's looking for promoting fish and chips especially in London and South East and stuff, whether it's radio, TV and stuff, for some reason we were the go-to people. And we was very fortunate. So even now, you come into Henleys on a big, I think it's a 60-inch sort of, display unit. You'll still see, clips of Take on the Takeaway and Gino Campo and Matthew Fort and Tom Parker Bowles and the Guinness World Records as well. We got approached by the.
How did that come about?
Well, in them days, you had the British Potato Marketing Board. and they wanted to, link up obviously with Fish and Chips and National Chip Day and everything, and to get some exposure, they thought, let's do some events throughout the country, and they picked on us and said, look, why don't we go for the world record? Are you up for this? I said, yeah, great. So we had this date. I got the mayor and representatives from they dealt with that side of it, from the Guinness World Records, big
adjudicators.
Yes, yeah. We made a big publicity thing about it as well. There's loads of customers and everybody around, and it was again a great day. But
so, how fast were you? What did you do, and how fast were you?
We chipped it, peeled it, fried it, and served it to a customer in 3 minutes 42 seconds.
Wow!
But it wasn't a whole sack of potatoes, because you've got to do it all professionally and all correctly, because you're being judged and you're being looked at as well. So lucky enough, it was new potatoes. So I hand-picked half a bucket of ones that didn't really need peeling too much, and so they go through the peeler probably about 15 seconds, straight out into the chipper next to it, straight round. I've got the oil, I had a fire extinguisher near me because I had the oil at about 995 or whatever, straight in, and fishing and that as well. And Lisa's the fastest wrapper as well. So chips come out, fish come out, Lisa wraps it, stopwatch goes, and it was actually quicker than 3 minutes 42. But it's got parts to taste test as well, and the adjudicators, all the chips are. They're not quite, fluffy. Yeah, they're slightly hard. So again, we do it, and it was the best of three. So then we done the final one was 3 minutes 42. Beautiful product, beautiful things, and so again, it's a great accolade to have up on the wall. We've got a whole feature on the wall. Guinness World Record holders for the fastest chip.
Amazing. So and you still enter now just to keep your staff on their toes and to just to make sure you're maintaining standards. And
I mean it's also I couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for a great team. People go off and they'll spend 60, 70, 80, 100,000 sometimes on a frying range and stuff, but they don't invest in their team, and their team is the most important thing. So Dave, my manager at the shop, he's actually more enthusiastic than me for entering the awards. The last time we won the region and stuff, Dave came up on stage with me. Dave comes to the awards with me, and so does his son Ryan. So to make sure
you're in the people business, aren't we? We're all in the people business, aren't we?
Yeah.
Relationships. Nobody wants to make a sale. We want to make a customer. And I've actually judged you when in the Fish and Chip Shop of the Year competition. I'm the master of disguise. You did. I mean, we know each other quite well, and you didn't clock me when I came and judged you.
Yeah, that's only because you look like you should have been selling the big issue. I thought you were homeless. I was going to give you a fish and chips for free.
Well, that's all part of the game. I don't want to give you an unfair advantage, but the energy and the passion, it filters down, and your team, will they serve you credit, because when you're not around, they're doing the job absolutely as if you were there, and I think that's why you do so well in the competition, is because because of the team and the standards and the attention to detail you've got in that. You've got in that.
I mean, our industry, it's hard work. It's long days, and it's unsociable hours. So to get young people to come into the industry, but also retain the experienced people you've got. They don't want to be doing 5-6 days a week, 12-hour days, because they're going to get burnt out and fed up, and they're going to move on. So I made a decision years ago, and when I run it past the accountants, they said, "David, hang on, can I just tell you what you've just said to us? You're gonna pay them more money, and they're going to do less hours." I said, "Yeah." So literally, none of my son, Ryan, who's my assistant manager there, and Dan, they don't do more than 2 days. Ryan and Dan do Monday and Tuesday, and then they have Wednesday and Thursday off, and then they're back refreshed Friday and Saturday for the busy weekend. So they only do 4 days a week. Dave, my manager, he prefers a long weekend. When he finishes Saturday night, he has Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and then he'll do his 4 days straight, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That way, I mean, Dave's been with me, I think 18, 19 years. I made the mistake a while ago, really, after I think when he got to 10 years, where I said, when you get to 25, Dave, I'll buy you a Rolex. And it's closer now. I'm going to have to start putting some money to one side.
He must look both ways 3 times before he crosses the road.
Yeah. But his son Ryan, he came in just to help us one Saturday afternoon. You know, he was at catering college and stuff, and he came in one Saturday afternoon. He never went back. And Ryan's been with me, I think, 12 years.
I've met him. He's a great lad.
Yeah.
Great lad.
Do you know what? He's every day he's enthusiastic about stuff. He comes up with all these new ideas. He loves all the platforms and the IT that goes with, you know, all the menu shots for Deliveroo and everything. You know, it is. You're only as good as your team. You know, you really are. So invest in them and look after them. And longevity in our business is what is key, because you invest so much time and energy training somebody up. And I go and see friends and colleagues in the industry, and I say, "Where's John? Or where's so and so?" "Oh, he left." I said, "Why? You've invested all that time and energy, and he was a great guy." "Well, he got fed up with the hours. You know, he's got a girlfriend now, or his wife, and you know, he got fed up with all the weekends." Yeah. I said, "Well, you know, can you blame him?" You know, so yeah.
Balance is key, but you know, not just in work, but in life as well. And
yeah,
and you know, having that kind of balance, like an equal exchange of energy, I call it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
If you put in as much as they do, and you know, it creates like a much nicer environment to work and grow and be around, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So it's niggling me. I've got to know tell me about this nightclub. When did you buy it? How did you come to own a nightclub? What's it like owning a nightclub? I've owned 3 pubs. I've owned a cinema. Owning a cinema is great.
At the front door.
You've got a visitor. How did you just? Tell me, I want to know.
Right.
Just tell me how you came to have a nightclub. What's it like? Did you fully pimp out? And
this is how it came about. Do you know, when I think back, I think I was fearless. I used to take anything on, you know. And this is when the shop had burnt down. I'm battling in the High Court with the 2 insurance companies, the broker, and everything else. So I'm actually helping out to he was a friend of mine, Ray Blake. He had a bit of a colourful history, I think, because he spent about 10 years out in Spain.
Is Ray Blake his real name or just his nightclub name?
Yeah. No, Ray Blake. Lovely guy, proper East End, you know, lovely. Him and his wife, Barbara.
Ray Blake.
Yeah. And we used to call it like the Winchester Club out of Minder, because it was below ground. So I used to go in there. And but fabulous people, and still in touch with them now. You know, I was at a wedding and everything. But yeah, so I'm helping out down there because I was a customer first of all, and I don't know whether Ray done it actually to sort of help me out a bit, you know, because you know he could see that, you know, I weren't buying any rounds and stuff, and you know things were tight, and he just said, look, you know, I want to help out at the weekends and stuff, so I just sort of, you know, do the door with with him and some of the other doormen sometimes, and just help out, you know. Because you can always diffuse a situation with a smile, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't have an intimidating persona.
No.
But I'm sure diplomacy, you've got buckets of that.
Yes. So,
bomb disposal, diffusing.
Yeah. So they decided to sell, and they had some issues with the licensing sergeant. I think Ray did have a bit of a colourful past, and so they literally, it was a private members club. So every time they used to send down undercover police officers and literally just buy drinks, play the fruit machines, but then he's contravening his licence because it's a private members club. So he wanted to move on anyway, and I said, well, I'll buy it, Ray. I said, but again, I've got no money at this stage. The shop's burnt down. I've got no income and stuff, and. But we had a handshake, you know, and I paid him from the takings at the shop until I got the payout as well from insurers. And so we had a great deal. I had to go to the licensing sergeant, and I had to assure him that Mr. Blake will have no involvement in the running of the business or anything like that. So the first night I opened the club, because I closed it for a little while, and Henleys, whatever you're going to own or whatever you're going to operate, put your name to it. Be proud of it. So it then became Henley's Private Members Club. So got the license, because I also wanted the market for, you know, a private members club Monday to Sunday. You know, there's no market for it. I went back to the licenses. I got a nightclub license. Even on a Sunday, I had Chicago Rock Cafe just up the road from me. You know, 2,000 people in there the weekends and stuff. They still had to close at 10:30 on a Sunday. I was the only place in Colchester that had a 12 o'clock license for a Sunday. The place was heaving, yeah. So I rebranded the place, done a full renovation, and again, this was down to friends. My mate John Harrison, you know, he used to do the diplomatic places, the embassies in London and everything. And we were good mates. I said, John, I've got this club. What do you think? He came down, done this design, revamped everything, and again, it's friends. It's all on a handshake. You know, I literally didn't have any money, so we launched the place. And just incredible. I had a great time. I ended up keeping that for 8 years. There was times when I was running the fish and chip shop in town, leaving Wivenhoe at probably 8:30 in the morning, getting home at 6:30. Lisa will tell you, I'd lay on the bed for an hour and a half, then put a suit on, get to the club for 9 o'clock to get the bottling up and meet the door staff and the bar staff when they turn up. And I'd finish there 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes and get home.
Wow.
Yeah, sleep, yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, I couldn't maintain that for too long. So one of the other doormen, Big John, big Scottish guy, you know, best friends, he's passed away now.
Every nightclub's got a Big John.
Me and John met in a little Crown pub round the corner, and again the landlord there, Cliff Ray's, he's a good friend of mine. You know, Henry Cooper opened the place for him. Cliff Ray's another East End guy, and how me and Big John met was I'd had a bit too much to drink, and I'd offered him outside for a fight. This huge John of a guy, and I actually said this at his eulogy, bless him. I did his eulogy and his past, bless him. And he just put this enormous sort of hand on my shoulder and said, "Sit down, laddie, and have a drink." And we sat down. And from that day on, we was best friends. So when I got the club, I knew the one doorman that I wanted in the town that was very respected and nobody messed with was Big John. But he was getting on a bit then time. So he's doing the door, and he's getting on. I said, John, you know what? I said, I want you to run the place. I said, I want to put you on the license. You know, he even had a business card. You know, I did all that for him. So instead of being the doorman that he'd been, you know, he'd been stabbed and everything, you know, he loved it. He had this kudos, you know, he's not the doorman anymore. He's the manager. And he'd done a fantastic job. An absolute fantastic job. And, you know, I miss him now. I really do.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, so I had the nightclub for 8 years, and again, it was a springboard to other things, you know. But it isn't, having a nightclub isn't good for a happy marriage, you know.
It's not.
No, the time that had to be sold was, I'd gone down. You know, the kids are probably got 5 and 7, and Lisa. I was at home, you know, Christmas Eve, and I said, I went out about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, I've just got to go down the club, you know, give them a, you know, Christmas bonus and just have a Christmas drink with them. And, you know, I'll be back. We closed at 2:30, but by the time we cleared up and everything, it's normally about 4. So I go down, you know, give them a Christmas presents and have a drink, get out with them and thank them very much. And I get home about 5:30. I'm just getting in bed, and the kids come storming into the bedroom. Dad, it's Christmas!
He's been!
I'm putting a train set together about 20 minutes later, and I'm thinking, oh, God, I can't do this. And we've got like 16 coming, you know, family coming, because for some reason, you know, we always, you know, host at Christmas and stuff. So, we had, you know, all these people come for Christmas dinner, and by the time Boxing, and we're all back to work after Boxing Day. Most people I know, you know, they got 2 weeks off at Christmas, but in our industry, you know, we're back to work after Boxing Day. And I thought, well, this can't continue really. And I got approached by a guy that wanted to buy it anyway, and that done very well on that, very well indeed. In fact, so much so, 6 months later, he wanted me to buy the place back because membership gone downhill. He wasn't running it right, and he said, "David, look," he said, "I think I've made a bit of a mistake. Would you like it back? Buy it back from me." I said, "I can't insult you, Ian, with what I'd offer you." No. So another friend of mine actually bought it. And I tried to talk him out of it because that didn't last either, And
it very very much depends on personality.
Yeah.
Clubs and pubs. I wasn't made for the pub business.
No.
The pubs I owned, my brother ran that, and I ran the fish and chip shops. And he could tell you some stories, and I'm sure when you're not on a podcast, you could tell me some stories, and that's something for the bar sometime. I think. But
the first night as well that I had the club, I always do a soft opening. People don't ever do a big one where you publicise everything, and then because your opening night, something's going to go wrong. Your tills ain't going to work. Your callers are going to pack up or whatever. So I done a soft opening, and I'm behind the bar. I've got all these barmaids and stuff, and got door staff there. So it's already costing me probably about 120 quid an hour, and I've got 3 people in there, and I'm thinking right. So wow. I go out, I have a little wander, I go on a little crown, buy around a few people and stuff, and then say, "What are you having, David?" I said, I've got to get back to the club. I tell you what, come back with me and have one at my club. I'll buy, drinks on me, come back. So I'll nick about 5 or 6 customers at a Cliff's pub. He drinked after a while. Go down mine, buy them around, and then I'd shoot out the fireworks out the back. Then I'd go to Robert's club, do the same in there. Buy a drink. "Hello, mate. How you doing?" "I've got to get back to the club." "I'll tell you what, come back and I'll have one on me." "Oh, right then." Another time, out through the back door, round Fagin's Den, the pub round the corner, do the same then. Before you know, I got 20, 30 people in there.
There's that smiling assassin again.
Yeah.
So I also know through previous conversations that you've been a property developer along the way as well.
Yeah.
You've dabbled in that a bit as well, which me and you have in common.
Yeah.
That's you've done well on that as well. And again, that business acumen shines through there.
I just enjoy it. When you see something, even if it's an underperforming fish and chip shop, because I ended up doing 5 fish and chip shops as well. I'd have a little drive round the next village up, Aylesford. There was an Indian takeaway there, not performing that well. It wasn't even on the market. Mr. Mead said, "Mr. Mead," I said, "Do you want to sell?" And we arranged a price, took over that. Again, capped everything at the meter, so new drainage, new electrics and everything, because I really wanted to franchise Henleys first of all. So I had Henleys of Aylesford. I did the same again in Braintree on a housing estate. I did the same in Colchester on a Ipswich Road near the A12. I already had Wivenhoe, which was a town location. I had fish and chip shop, town centre, and linked up with the accountants and then the solicitors at the time, because the idea was if I could show 5 shops trading successfully at 5 different locations. So I had Henleys of Wivenhoe in a village location. I had Henleys of Aylesford in a small town. I had Henleys of Colchester on a busy main road. I had Henleys Fish Restaurant, town centre location, and Henleys of Braintree on a housing estate, all performing well and all identical to one another. And I thought this is it really. Take it forward.
You've cracked it.
Yeah, but then the man upstairs has other ideas sometimes, and Lisa was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's a bit of a reality check. You sort of think, well,
yeah,
why are we doing all this? We've got 2 lovely boys working all these crazy hours. I still had the club then as well,
Yeah.
Doing all of this, I'm doing a club. So we decided to keep the 2 best performing ones, Henleys of Braintree and Henleys of Wivenhoe. Sold the others, and it generated, a bit of cash and stuff. So I thought, what can we do? And I've always loved, like I said, whether it's a fish and chip shop or whether it's a rundown house that you want to refurb and stuff. I just enjoy doing it. I'm doing 2 apartments literally now. I bought these commercial units during COVID. It was an empty newsagents, and that was Mr. Bryant again. Got my own back on him. Even his other shop in the end.
I love that. I love that.
So I bought this empty newsagents and Elmer's Price estate agents next door, and it had a 4-bedroom flat above it. And Jamie, who was in the estate agents, phoned me up. He said, Dave, I know you like to do a bit of property now. He said, there's a 4-bedroom flat above here. It used to be two beds. You could flip it quite easily. So I went and had a look, and it didn't sort of excite me really. And I said, Jamie, I said no. I said, and then the more I looked around, I said, Jamie, who owns these? The 2 commercial units, the flat, and also the land out the back. He said it's Paul Bowell. He's used to be a local sort of businessman, but he's moved away now. I said, can you get in touch with him? And we got in touch. We had a deal, and I ended up buying the whole site. So I ended up refurbing the empty newsagents. That's now Bowell's coffee shop. The estate agents, I got a new lease for them in place, so they gave up the parking to the rear and the store areas and everything. So I ended up, I only got it last week, the house to the rear. I ended up getting planning for the 2 apartments above. It's in a conservation area with access off the high street. Beautiful sash windows, overlooking the church, St Mary's and stuff. And in the land to the rear, I'm going to build the first passive house in Wivenhoe. I ended up planning to demolish the rear buildings and extensions and a 3/4 bed, passive house to the land to the rear. And
amazing.
I
love it.
Took me 3 years. Bought them during COVID. I only literally got planning last Thursday on the house to the rear. And one house I did. Again, it's just knowing people and my mate John Palmer from Palmer Partners. Me and Lisa were shopping in town one day, doing Christmas shopping, and I thought I'd just pop in and say hello to John. And I said, "You all right, John?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I tell you what." He said, "I've got a repossession in." He said, "That'll suit you down to the ground. Lovely location and stuff, I said, "Oh, go on in." I said, "Where is it?" And I said to Lisa, I said, you carry on doing some shopping. I won't be long. Honestly, I won't be long. So Lisa goes off doing her Christmas shopping. I hop in the car, go and have a viewing at this place. And it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I think, yeah, it's lovely. I, quite like this. But, big land-eye trees growing out of everywhere. You couldn't even get through the house because the ivy had grown through the back door. And I thought, So I went back and said to John, I said, right, okay, I've got to be careful because I don't want to get him in trouble. Because it was a repossession, so I knew what figure that I needed to go in. Put it that way.
You guessed where you needed to be.
Yeah. But that was the flying hill. He said, David, look, full and final offers have to be in, this afternoon by 3 o'clock. And this is already by 12 o'clock. But this was in the days of good old bank managers and stuff. I'd met Marsh at HSBC. I already had the parade at this time, so I had equity in that, and I'd sold a few of the
security.
Yeah. So I just phoned Matt up and just said, Matt, look, I've seen this repossession. I said, I think it's a great opportunity. That's the price. I said, but they need, a fax in them days. Need a fax from you to say that I'm in funds, to proceed. Yeah. He said, yeah, no problem, David. Gave him the details. John phoned me back half an hour later. He said, David, it's yours. You just can't do that now. And I sold it. I sold it before I even finished revamping it. This Dutch couple, one of the neighbours had tipped them away. This Dutch couple turned up and they said, we like it. We like this location, how much and stuff. And we discussed the price. And because I was still refurbing it, they said, look, can we have oak skirtings, doors and all? I said, yeah, sure. I said, we'll just have to, it'll be, you'll have to.
A little bit more?
Yeah, a bit of a premium for that. And even my solicitor's good. I'm good mates with now. We'd exchanged on the property, which allowed me to go ahead and start the work. And we hadn't quite completed the work. I near enough sold the place before I'd even completed on it.
That's good business.
Yeah, and a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time. but it's also
you make your own luck, mate. I do feel that, you know, you make your own luck, and you know, you've cultivated relationships that they bear fruit, don't they? You like having the same potato man for 40 years. You know, at the end of the day, when things get tight and tough, he's going to look after you because you've always paid your bill on time. You've always been straight. You've always smiled, and that gets you through.
Yeah.
I've got some quick fire questions. We didn't do this before. I've got some quick fire questions. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to fire probably 5 or 6 at you. Then I'm going to let you go because I know you've got a busy day stacked up today, and I just want to finish just by putting you on the spot to flex the grey muscle between your ears. So, what trends do you see emerging in hospitality and catering, particularly fish and chips, and how do you see the fish and chip business going over the next few years?
Honestly, we've got a lot of challenges out there. I mean, you know, everybody's seen the fish prices going crazy in that now. We've had it, you know, with the potato prices, you know, it's very volatile, but it's where it's been tough. It's actually sort of the performing shops out from the ones that really haven't performed that well. You know, they've got fallen by the wayside. They really have. So it leaves.
And they needed to, didn't they?
Yeah. And you know, so you know, there's a bit more of the pie to go round now. And you know, and so many people that I meet when I'm doing the Frymax meetings and going and seeing Frymax customers and stuff they're so price conscious. You know, don't be afraid. If you're offering a great product, you've got to charge the money. We're $11.90 now for standard fish and chips, standard cod and chips. And
sounds fair. That's great value, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, it's a great product, and don't you can't work for nothing. You know, we'll do our VAT every 3 months and stuff. So do your margins, do your gross profit, your net profit, and adjust your prices accordingly because you know we all need to we can't work for nothing. So I think going forward, I think the hospitality industry, lots of challenges, but just again, great product, great service, you'll do well, and don't undervalue yourself. Fish and chips, it's a fantastic product. It's a natural product. You know, the fish from the oceans, potatoes from the soil. You know, what else can you do? You know, it's a win-win. So you know, shout about it.
That's great advice. What's your go-to comfort food after a long day at work, or what's your guilty pleasure? Are you a sweet tooth man, or are you savoury? What is your
Mark Chinese, mate? That's my weakness. It really. I'm trying to diet. I'm trying to diet now. Lisa even nearly got me to Slimming World on Monday because I still enjoy a pint now and again. And Chinese,
we've got to, haven't you?
Yeah. But the Chinese round the corner in Wivenhoe, he's an amazing guy. He really is. But he's come up with because Lisa's, you know, she doesn't like Chinese, and you think sometimes, you know, it costs me 40 quid because you can't just have, you know, one dish or anything. So you have 4 dishes. And but he does his bento boxes now, £18.50, and you get a little bit of special fried rice, you get a little bit of chow mein. You choose 2 starters as well, so bit of spare ribs and maybe a bit of seaweed.
Roll.
Yeah, £18.50, and it's a win-win. Do you know? Because although he might not be selling, you know, the 40 quid order, you know, once every now and again, this £18.50 where there's good margins in it as well. He's selling them more often. You know,
do you go and collect it, or do you have it delivered?
And that's through Deliveroo, even because I try and do it on a Thursday, and that's even free delivery. So doesn't it? I don't even leave my armchair. You know, this thing arrives, and
before Deliveroo, because I've got to know if this happens to you, because this happens to me, and it drives me up the wall because you have to smile. You go into a Chinese, and one of your customers is bound to be in there.
Yeah,
and every time they say, "What are you doing in here?" What are you doing here? Like, no, I live on fish and chips, mate. I'm not allowed, you know. What do you think I'm doing in here? I'm not. I've come to mop their floors for them. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, all
Or is
the
it
time.
just me? Is it just...
I go round the back sometimes. I just sort of phone him up and I just park outside, quickly dart in and dart out again. But
you've got a fairly recognisable car, haven't you? With your Bentley convertible. Do you go and pick up the Chinese in that?
Yeah, that's my van as well. Honestly, you should see. I pulled up the other day. I had to get a load of gear for the plumber and stuff and everything, and I had paints and everything. And I had the top down in the Bentley, and I had 3 metre lengths of deck boards from the front seat going all the way back, and no problem.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've still got the Bentley that you bought me.
Yeah.
Do you remember you bought me a Bentley?
Yeah, I do.
It's a really fabulous gift. Nobody's ever bought me a Bentley before, but I've got an official, and it's in this lovely leather box. I've got a Bentley pen, and I cherish it. I really do. It was a really thoughtful gift, so I've still got the Bentley that you bought me.
Nice,
and that shows real class. That does, mate.
Yeah.
So I've got another question for you. If you could cook or serve a meal to somebody in the world, past or present, who would it be? And the second part of that is, what would you make? But I know it'd have to be fish and chips. Who would you really love to cook fish and chips for?
Do you know what? That's an easy one, really. Do you know my great uncle James? He was 22 and he was in the SAS and he was killed in France. Literally in September, it was only about 8 weeks. They was dropped behind enemy lines in France before D-Day, just to really disrupt, German communications and everything. There's 2 books being written about him, and I've just finished reading them. And me, Mum, and the family went out there when it was the 50th anniversary, and that was the 80th anniversary of him being killed. September that Mum died, and I'd arranged to go out there then. But I'd just like to meet him. A 22-year-old. It literally. He only started in the local.
There's no age, is it?
Yeah, the local regiment. Then he was stationed out in Italy, joined up with the SAS, went through Italy, Africa, France. He broke his leg in training in Scotland, and he's still jumping a few months later, behind enemy lines with his mates with jeeps, twin Vickers machine guns mounted on the back, going around, and they set this ambush up for this German convoy that was coming along, and it was an accident. Somebody had left a round in the Vickers machine gun, so when they cocked it, it blew his intestines, his stomach out. So the French resistance hid him and his body for 2 days, and he's still buried out in a little village in France for Anne. So to cook a meal for him and just be able to talk to him, and at 22, how did he manage to do something like that? Yeah. And what makes people do that? He could have kept his head down, in a local sort of regiment and stuff, and probably still would have seen action. But what makes people want to do it? Jump out of an airplane and behind enemy lines?
Yeah, I don't talk about it much. My wife's a police officer,
right?
And, she, whenever there's danger, she gets paid to walk towards it, not walk away from it.
Yeah.
And it takes a special sort of person
to
do that.
So courageous. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody else is running that direction. They've got to go, towards danger.
Yeah.
And
I admire that. That's a great answer. 2 questions left. What's next for you? Have you got any big plans? Are you just staying in your lane now? Are there any retirement plans? Do you think is Henley's going to carry on?
Yeah.
I know Joe and Kieran are both flying in their chosen careers. One's in law and one's in medicine.
Yeah.
And so I know that they're not likely to come into the family business. What are your plans?
Well,
what have you got up your sleeve?
Well, I've got that development. I've still got to build that passive house, so we're looking at 2 years. Yeah. That's probably a 2-year project. I like doing that, but we love holidaying as well, though. We really do.
I know you go to Barbados, don't you?
Yeah, Barbados, and we got a sounds a bit posh and pretentious, but it's only like a timeshare, but we've got a villa in St Lucia, so we go over there every year, and the kids learn to scuba dive and water ski and everything there, so we go there every year. But 2 years ago, we went on safari in South Africa, and that was absolutely amazing. The ranger we had, because we go in the winter time, so all the vegetation is sort of died back, so you can see everything, and it was just amazing. When this jeep thing, and the ranger Keenan is looking over there, and he can see something going on, and we're all focusing, looking there, and then all of a sudden he said, "Don't move, don't do anything." Next thing, we had 4 male lions walk, literally. Lisa was on that side, closest to us. I was quite lucky. 4 male lions just walked along, looked up at us, had a sniff, and then we went round the corner, and there was a rhino with a calf and that, and then that charged us, and the heart's going, but the adrenaline, but to see nature at its best, some of it's horrible. We saw these cheetahs actually make a kill this little, I think it's called a duku or whatever, this just small sort of antelope thing, which was very, very sad. But, when you see nature in all its splendour, and you park up on the top of the hill, see the sunset, he gets the gin and tonics out the back of the boot and stuff. So we've actually booked to go for Lisa's birthday this year, August. We're going to take the boys.
Lovely.
So we fly out to Johannesburg, stay overnight, and then the closest town to this game reserve we go to is called Colchester, where we live.
Well, just as an aside, Fred Capel's in South Africa at the moment. He's there on holiday. So there's obviously a pull there and a lure that makes that. I've friends that go to South Africa now and again. And they said to me, just make sure you keep your windows up at traffic lights because there's a lot of carjacking.
Yeah.
You have to be savvy. You have to be careful in South Africa. There's a lot of crime there, but there is everywhere, I suppose. Final question. Where can people find out about Henleys? What your website? If people want to talk to you more, or just see, give a plug to your shop, and because you've still got that wet fish counter. It's still an amazing business. For if people want to come and experience the Henleys hospitality.
Yeah.
I think we need to put that on there, and then I'm going to let you go.
Well, we're situated in Wivenhoe, which is a small town in Colchester, Essex. The only way is Essex. Come and see us, but just punch in Henley's Fish and Chips on the web. Have a look at what we do. There's loads of information on there. But seriously, if there's anybody out there wants a chat, wants a bit of advice or anything, give us a buzz first. I'll make sure I'm there. Come and have a look, see how we do things. Please don't open up just down the road for me, but I'll always be happy to give a bit of guidance, whether you're a Frymax user or not. Give us a ring, and I just love talking about our industry. And if I can help somebody, then great. And I really mean that. Really mean that.
Well, I know I've been a little bit lushy, but it is an absolute genuine pleasure to talk to you, and I am a true fan. So I make no apology for the way I've been with you today. It's been an absolute delight. Thank you, mate, so much. I hope your day goes well. I know what you've got lined up today. I hope it goes well for you.
Thanks, mate.
And are you going to the awards?
No.
You're not going to make it this time.
No.
I mean, I've had to freeze my kids' pocket money for another year. I've had to sell a kidney, but I have secured myself one ticket. It's dinner and a show money to go to the awards, but you do get dinner and a show. So it is quite expensive when you look at the ticket cost, but I think what you get out of it. I love it. I mean, if circumstances were different, I'd be there 100% because I met some lovely guys last year. Let's give me a bit of a chat. Henry, because they're up for an award. I think they're up for the IT award and stuff. And lovely guys, proper fish and chip guys. And I was on their table with them. We shared a few drinks afterwards, and proper fish and chip people again.
And when you go along to these awards, you meet such wonderful people, and you get, your network as well. Share some ideas, share some views, and it's a great place to be. So if I could have made it there, 100% I would have been there. Just circumstances this year, I can't make it, and that's the first time in probably 30 years. So the bar take will probably be a bit less this year.
I'll see you at some bar at some point, and we'll carry on this conversation about owning a nightclub.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about the stuff that we can't talk about on a podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
David Henley, thank you for joining us, and I'll speak to you again real soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, pal. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode with Mark Petrou and David Henley. I, for one, enjoyed this episode. What did you all think? We'd love to hear your thoughts. What stood out? Join the conversation in our Ceres podcast discussion group on Facebook. Don't be shy like everyone else. Come on. And stay connected with us on social media. For updates, special offers, industry news, join our mailing list, and the link will be in the episode show notes. The offers really only go in the mailing list, so that's where you need to be. Remember to jump over and check out our calculators to give your business the edge. At Ceres, we're dedicated to help your business thrive. Whether it's through innovative products or valuable insights, we're here to support you. So feel free to reach out, because we'd love to hear what you're working on right now.